here, Robert Chambers here from Any Key Music. Where am I looking? I see a screen here. Once again, I'm getting used to this platform. But Robert Chambers from AnyKeyMusic.com, teaching you how to master the art of playing the piano by ear. This is an impromptu webinar. Actually, I'm doing a webinar tonight. Well, depending on what time you're looking at this, it's going to be on Thursday, and I'm going to be covering some very good things. Some people may misunderstand me a little bit, but I know that you won't. Okay, so I just finished doing a live webinar for all of my European time zone students. So that's what you see on the board there. All right, so that's not some code to hypnotize you or anything like that. Okay, so hopefully you are doing great, and you may be there or you may not be there, but just in case you are there, I just wanted to let you know about what playing by ear is. All right, so once again, I'm going to be doing my first official live, I wouldn't say first, I guess it would be my first official planned live Facebook Live. Okay, so I put it out the invitation a little bit yesterday. Okay, so you might have seen that. But what I want to say about playing by ear is simply this. Playing by ear is the ability to play anything that you hear. Okay, so I always tell people that's what playing by ear is. Okay, so if you're not able to play anything you hear, then you're not necessarily playing by ear. Okay, however, but that's not a bad thing. It's easy to fix. All right, and how I'm going to be able to fix it is actually by what I'm going to be doing later on tonight. It was just talking about certain theories and bringing them up. All right, I'm not trying to put anybody down, because the people that created theory are centuries old. Okay, so they're not around now, so they shouldn't be offended. Okay, but there's certain things that in the theory that you may question, that you have to look. It's like, wait a second. Ray, he may have a point. So I'm going to be covering that. You do not want to miss it. So if you're a musician, or if you're someone that just wants to learn music, it'll be at that level that it's not going to be too up here, but it'll be something that's very eye-opening. Okay, all right, and it's these little things that spoil the vine, these little things that are stopping people from getting really good. Okay, so we're going to be able to fix some of that a little bit later on. But I wanted to tell you a little story about playing by ear. As I said, playing by ear is the ability to play what you hear. And that song that I played, it's an amazing song by Richard Smallwood. It's called Total Praise, right? And a lot of times when you hear people actually play that song, you know, it's a beautiful song, right? But you hear the intro. I mean, there's a lot of different versions that you'd hear. You'd hear, you know, people doing that at the beginning, or they may even do this or whatever, all right? They may do that as their intro in terms of playing by ear, or playing it and playing the intro. However, what you don't hear is someone playing the original intro that is actually for the song, because to play that actually is probably a little bit harder than a regular intro. All right, now I didn't do it myself, so I could be guilty of it, but I got to tell you this story because, like I said, playing by ear is what? It's the ability to play anything you hear. All right, so as I said that before, so what would happen is, growing up, I would always tell myself that I believe that I can play anything I hear. Now, it didn't happen at the beginning. It took me many years, and many thousands of hours of trial and error to figure out a method. But eventually, by the time I was like 18, I kind of had a good handle on how to play certain things, okay? So one of the songs that the choir that I was playing with, amazing choir, they were called WAB. If WAB people are out there, say hi, okay? All right, but it was called WAB, and I got exposed to the type of American music that was there, and because like, a lot of the music that I played before was just very simple stuff like that. So I wasn't exposed to a lot of the other things. So anyways, when playing with that choir, I got exposed to a little bit more. Actually, there was another choir that I got exposed to, which is W10, Williams. All right. But after that, I played for this choir called WAB. And with that choir, they chose that song. So I always said, okay, well, I'm determined that whenever I hear something, I got to try and play it. Right. My style of playing is really basic. Like if you were to have me play, I really play like this, right? But because all these other songs have all these advanced things in them, I sound like I play advanced because I play them by ear. All right, so anyway, so they had this intro, and I remember listening to it. I'm like, wow, the guy that's playing this intro, how did he do that? But I would always say to myself, okay, Well, if he can play it, that means I can play it. Okay, so I never turn. So it's going to take me, I don't care how many hours it's going to take me, but I'm going to figure out the intro for the song, Total Praise. Okay, so I listened to it was a tape cassette at that time, and I was like, man, this guy is so good. So I heard the intro and it sounded like he was just using strings and all that stuff when he's playing it live. So I was just like, okay, well, I got to do it myself. So I got I think I had a Roland U20. For those of you musicians that know the Roland U20, Roland, bring back that keyboard. Okay, that was a great keyboard. All right, so we had the Roland U20, and the Roland U20 had a nice violins and string sounds, anyways, that were in there. And so I set it on a goal to actually learn how to play that song, right? Because I heard somebody else do it, right? So I started that journey, right? So I said, okay, he played it, right? So his intro, and it sounded like this. It sounded like this. Actually, let's try that again. I think I made a mistake. I don't like making mistakes, but it happens. This is live. Okay, so let me try playing it again. It went like this. Right? So you see that? I can't even play it myself, but let's try that again. Second part. And then that part comes in. And then they start. And then they went to that, mistakes and all. And so I played that like when I was like 18. So that's many years ago. I have to kind of brush up on it, right? But I was so excited that I got that. Then they said, Robert, that was an orchestra playing. I'm like, what? If I knew it was an orchestra playing, obviously there's many players, I wouldn't have attempted to play it. So what am I trying to say with this example? When you don't have a lot of those limitations or these things that make, like, says, I believe that I can do it, okay? And that's the number one thing that most people struggle with in terms of playing by ear. They believe they can't do it. So guess what? If you believe that you can't do it, you can't do it. All right, so I believe that I can do it, so I started to do it. I didn't know it was an orchestra playing. I'm like, how's this guy stretching his hands and doing all this stuff? But I'm like, this is great, okay? But it was composed obviously by Richard Smallwood, but just to do that on the piano, it's very hard to find somebody that actually plays a piano version of that intro because it's pretty tricky, all right? So if you do find it, please send me the video, okay? And doing it in every key is a real challenge as well. And so forth. But anyhow, so long story short, so that's one story. I'm going to share this one last story because today I'm just really just telling you that playing by ear is the ability to play what you hear and just letting you know to come on out at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, which is a Thursday, where I'm going to be breaking down some things that could be kind of slowing down people's progression or development in playing by ear, whether it's at the basic level or at the advanced level. There are some things that all you got to do is fix in terms of certain theories. You got to fix them and then you should be just fine. All right. So The second story is obviously I'm feeling excited, because I played that intro, and after finding out that it was an orchestra that played it, I was like 18. I'm like, man, felt good. So we had this concert, the choir that I played with, and we had this concert. So we were going. It was like a New Year's Eve concert that we were singing at, and I was just great. So so back in the day, we were doing. Right? So those of you who know Hezekiah Walker's Jesus Is My Help, right? And my part, it was 3 keyboard players, and my part was to play the brass. So I was like, and I'm like, and there, that's the bass part. So all that brass part kind of, stands out, So actually at that concert, I felt so confident. I was actually standing in that concert, because I know how good it is. However, before I started to play, I was using somebody else's keyboard. So instead of setting up my keyboard, I said, okay, I'll just play somebody else's keyboard. And on top of that, this is kind of embarrassing. On top of that, I really couldn't hear myself. So how the monitors were, so you can hear yourself, I couldn't really hear myself. But for me, I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to really hear a monitor of how it sounds as long as everything's good. All right, as long as everything's good with the keyboard, right? The problem was everything was not good with the keyboard. So I had my friend, his name is Godfrey Thompson. He was an amazing organist. I think he's in Atlanta right now. Excuse me, Godfrey, I'm not sure where you are right now. Okay, but what ended up happening is he was playing the Hammond organ. No, sorry, Chris Clark. They call him Sweets, amazing organist. He was playing organ. Godfrey was playing main keys. Godfrey Thompson was playing main keys, and I was playing the brass lines. So I was like, right, and I'm playing all those shots in there. Right, and then my part later on when it comes to the brass, right, and I'm playing, and there's a brass sound is like very high pitched, and it actually just it stands out. It stands out really hard. So long story short, what ended up happening was I didn't know, because I couldn't hear myself as a monitor. The person that played the keyboard before me transposed the keyboard. So those of you that don't know what transposing is, and this is why I think if I was president or a prime minister, I would ban it. Is because it transposed the keyboard and I couldn't hear a reference. So when we're playing, right, they're like, Robert, you're off. It was so embarrassing, right? Big time concert. It was called Genesis. They're like, Robert, you're off. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm off. I play in every key. I'm not off. They're like, Robert, you're off. And this went on for the whole 3 verses until we got to this part, right? So the verses. So basically what you would be hearing when you hear this, right? The bass and the drums, and then I came in, and then all you hear was, and I'm just dancing and I couldn't even hear it. It was so embarrassing. So by the time we got to the bridge, finally, they're like, Robert, you're off, stop playing. I'm like, no. And then eventually I looked, I'm like, wait a second. I listened closely. I'm off big time. So then I didn't even know how to find a transpose thing. So I realized what key I realized how far I was off. And then I transferred, or it started to play in the correct key that I was. It wasn't the correct key that they were playing in, but I had to play based on the transposed keyboard, right? So all that to say, I couldn't hear myself. So there's the justification. For those of you who were at the concert and you heard Robert making a mess, that was the reason why the mess happened. So I think that would have been solved if the person knew how to play in any key, okay? And if I could hear myself, then that would have been fine too, because I was playing without hearing myself, which was fine, but the keyboard wasn't transposed. So why do I tell you that story? Is because playing by ear, yes, is the ability to play what you hear, but you got to be able to hear what you got to be able to hear. So, okay, so let's see. I'm just, like I said, get used to this platform. I have a couple people that were here. All right, so William says, my goal in life is avail your course, is to is avail your course, Sir Robert Chambers. Okay. All right. So I hope you're William. I hope your course is to definitely finish the course. If you have it, if you don't have it, you need to get it. All right. So you can go to nekeymusic.com. But once again, I'm going to be here. This was just to let people know that tonight I'm going to be doing an amazing webinar. All right. I'm telling you, it's going to be very good. It's going to be very enlightening. If you know me, you'll know that I'm not trying to be mean or attack anybody. I'm actually just going to bring up some theories that I didn't invent and you didn't invent. I know you didn't invent this theory because those theories were invented centuries ago. However, those theories are kind of, I don't know if anybody checked the theories, right? But what I found is those theories are some of the things that are slowing people down, all right? So that's what I only wanted to come out, just share the little story about playing by ear, because I see a lot in the internet world about what playing by ear is. And I can tell you, playing by ear is not copy me videos. It's not where you can just see, somebody showing you something and then you do it. It's not where you have some software that's telling you what to play, all right, tell you every single note. That's not playing by ear. And it's not sheet music. Those are not the things that are playing by ear. And if you struggle to do any of those things, guess what? It's only because you haven't been taught how to understand the language of music. However, to understand the language of music, you got to be taught how to understand the language. And like I said, there are some things that are stopping you from understanding the language. So make sure you tune in at 9 o'clock tonight. If you're watching this on a replay, then it should be, obviously this should be posted on my Any Key Music Piano by Ear page, okay? So let me see if there's any quick questions that I can address. Let's see. Okay, Greg, I need to finish the course. I own your course. All right, Greg, get going, man. Finish it off. Don't skip anything. Make sure you go from beginning to end, all right? Between life and work, I've been super busy, but your program has helped me so much, even without finishing it. Wow. That is amazing, Greg. Thank you very much for sharing. So I'm glad I'm going to be on in Facebook because now I know how to reach you, Greg. Okay, so I can make sure that you reach your goals, all right? Just once again, things in the Any Key Music system may seem like, okay, why am I doing this stuff? Like it just seems so simple. But then later on, you're going to see how it's all translate to very advanced playing. Okay, so that is going to be it, guys. And I look forward to seeing you at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Okay, so just come with your questions, come ready to learn, come to challenge me even on the theories. If you were traditionally taught, tell somebody that was traditionally taught on how music works, because I'm unfortunately going to bring up how certain things are taught in certain universities and schools, how certain top courses out there are actually claiming these theories are legitimate. So I'm going to be calling some people out, not in a bad way, just to say that they published this as true. I'm going to be bringing, and I got to challenge it. So if you want to challenge in terms of this theory or what I'm going to talk about, then make sure you're on, okay? But I all mean well. So no, I'm not trying to do any will or fight with anybody, okay? So that's going to be it, guys. So I will see you at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in today. Have a great day and God bless. Bye.